Hello everybody! Today we're going to talk about Oblivion, the remaster. Now, I'm sure you've seen plenty of people playing and talking and having an awesome time with it, and I encourage that. I think it's a really good remaster. It's exactly what we should want about remasters. I could talk for hours about all of the video games that I think deserve a remaster like that. Sorry, I had to cough before I said Dragon Age Origins. But regardless, there is a subsection of people who have now chosen to take issue with something about the game. And so far, this is the only major criticism that I've seen of the game, and it's actually really early into the game that you see this, right? And it is the fact that now the sex option switched from male and female to body type 1 and 2. Now, before we go into this, no, this doesn't make the game woke, this doesn't make the game bad, this doesn't do any of that, right? Saying this right off the bat. That being said, it's dumb. You might be wondering why it's dumb. Because it is done with the intention of being inclusive towards people who identify as non-binary. For those who don't know what that means, it is someone who doesn't identify as either man or woman, and so they prefer to be referred to as non-binary, or NB for short, as in NB, and they go by they, them pronouns. They sometimes go by just they, them, sometimes they go by he, they, sometimes they go by she, they, sometimes they go by she, them, and then you can ask to see their titties. But with that context out of the way, considering that non-binary people, and I do mean non-binary, I'm not talking about intersex, who are still a very small percentage of people, are incredibly rare. It's a very small minority of people who identify this way. They are a subsection of transgender, which themselves are 1% of the population or less, depending on where you go. They are represented in the US. By the way, none of this is to have them be expelled from the game at all. However, I do think that it is strange to exclude male and female, 99% of people, for the benefit of the 1%. Now, what would be a better option? I think that the option provided by Baldur's Gate 3 and BattleTech and other games like that. I think Veilguard was also similar. Yeah, it was, because then you can decide in-game. But what I am referring to is the option to pick your body type, so male, female, and I really do believe that the body type should be referred to as male and female, because that's what we're talking about. Because if it's not female, then the body type 2, why does the body type 2 need to have the chest covered at all times, right? Because it's a female, it's a woman's body, right? But body type, male and female, can call it sex, and then have the pronouns option, right? You want to be referred to as he, as a she, or as a they. By having these three options, you eliminate all discourse on this matter, because now, rather than taking away the option, you instead add a new one. I was talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday, and she actually made a really good point. It would be as if you were to eliminate the brown hair option in favor of red hair. Red hair, for those who don't know, is about 2% of the population. So we're going to eliminate the option that applies to like 95% of people in favor of 1% or 2%. It doesn't make sense, right? Let's not eliminate options. However, this drama is becoming more and more ridiculous, right? Now, some people, Grums and Smash JT and other really big culture war creators. Well, Smash JT is a creator. Grums is not a creator because he was making a video game, and he has been making that video game for 8+ years, and there's been no update, right? I say 8+ years. It's probably been longer than that, but there's been no update. Regardless, he's not really a creator. He's just a reply guy on Twitter. And we all know that reply guys on Twitter are goofy. But these people were complaining about it. And a large section of people on Twitter, these people don't exist in real life, were acting as though this was a criticism of the entire game and not just a criticism of this little thing. And so they're blowing it way out of proportion, acting as though things were said that weren't said, etc., etc. And someone, in fact, one of the first mods that were made, it was made within 24 hours of the game coming out, was the option to essentially switch body type 1 and 2 for sex, male and female. This mod was uploaded to Nexus, and it was banned almost immediately. What does this do? This is Nexus mods getting involved in a discussion that they really shouldn't be getting involved in. This is a conversation that should be happening between player and video game being turned into a conversation between player, video game, and a bunch of people on the side telling you what you are and aren't allowed to do in your own video game. Right? Keep in mind, there's CP on Nexus mods, right? Like, there are mods there that will allow you to sexualize child NPCs in video games. But somehow those are okay, and this isn't. I'm not making a point one way or the other between sex and body types. I am making a point that Nexus mods should not have gotten involved. And because Nexus mods has continuously gotten involved with stuff like this, they've continuously made decisions that worsen their platform in order to further monetize it, like shuttering the download speed unless you are a paying member. People are starting to look for other platforms that are not as hyper-controlling. Is this good? Maybe. Is it bad? Maybe. Should Nexus mods get the fuck out of the way? Yes, absolutely. Nexus mods is a platform, not an editor. They should act as a platform. If a mod is not criminal, it should be allowed to stay up. That being said, if you're going to allow one thing that is bad by everybody's standards, I hope it's bad by everybody's standards, and then you add something that 90% of people are not going to have a problem with, and that gets banned, maybe you need to take a hard look at what your stances are. Because this is just virtue signaling, right? Both sides. Both sides are virtue signaling here, alright? The person who made the mod, giving people the option, props to that guy, 100%. The people on Twitter, on, like, review sites, on YouTube, making videos about how the game is bad because pronouns, the game is bad because body type 1 and 2. What the fuck are we doing? The people acting like those are fucking Satan, the worst fucking people alive. Like, oh, if you're against this, oh, I hope the worst things happen to you. Let me post GIFs about how I wish I could kill you in real life, but because it's just a GIF and it's on Twitter, it's fine. Like, that is a death threat. Why are we pretending like that's okay? Why? Why are we doing this? And by the way, I only ever see the tolerant ones making those jokes, making those posts, and posting these GIFs of, like, why do we allow people to do this? Why do we allow people to sully the conversation like this? Because this could have been such a good conversation to have, right? They put the body types 1, people go, why are we still doing this? This is kind of weird. Like, just do male and female. And if you really want that to be a thing, at, you know, man, woman, non-binary, or he, she, they, whatever, right? But when you add the body types 1 and 2, and then in the game that makes the characters refer to you as a man, and body type 2 makes them refer to you as a woman, then that's male and female. So everybody understands what that means, but somehow we're supposed to pretend like that's not what it is. This is a video specifically talking about the extremist idiots on both sides, right? The people making death threats about this, retarded. The people acting like this ruins the game, retarded. Not as retarded as the death threats people, but also retarded. Okay? Let's keep our shit together. Alright, guys? Like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Comment what you think about the situation. Cheers.